Breakbulk Events and Media. I'm here in Houston at Breakbulk Americas, and I'm delighted to introduce Michael from CakeBoxx Technologies. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks very much. It's my pleasure to join you.
Yeah, well, I know that Michael has an amazing background. You have quite a bit of expertise from different sectors. Just give us some highlights.
Thanks, and I appreciate that. I've been very fortunate. I've started my career with the AP Moller Maersk Group, worked for them for 17 years, worked for DHL, and then ran a 3PL in Charleston, South Carolina, was a CEO and president of a port authority up in the Great Lakes in Toledo, and I've also worked for Microsoft over in Hanoi, and with their devices group as their global director of supply chain after they acquired Nokia. And then with Maersk, I've worked in the United States, over in Hong Kong for a couple of years in the early 90s, and then over the 1999 until 2004, I was in the Czech Republic in Prague, running all of their activities, including Maersk Logistics, Maersk Intermodal Europe, and the Liner Group as well.
Wow, all right, so you've got a wealth of knowledge. Before we get into your company, what I want to know is, what is your take on the current carrier rate situation and the other supply chain disruptions that we've seen?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I think from the high level perspective is it's not surprising that it happened. I mean, with the confluence of events, with COVID, with some of the things that happened in the Suez, and also a lot of folks panicking and buying things irrationally there for a while. I think it really set the supply chain on its head, with a lot of people shutting down their factories in the Far East and other folks ramping up their production. So I think the most important thing is that we're going to have to understand that what's happening now with stalled vessels outside of Long Beach in Los Angeles and in Savannah and in other ports, it's going to take some time to move through that volume. And opening up a port for 24 hours, 7 days a week sounds great, but where do you take the equipment? Where do you take the products that are bulk offloaded? Can you deliver them? So you may move the product through the port, but it's going to be stalled someplace else, at a railhead or on an off dock or something like that. So I think we have to be patient, and we also have to think about how and get away from always that the fastest is the best. Sometimes the supply chain at pace, where you have some time to, your cargo is reflecting and resting, is not so bad. And I think you're going to see a lot more organizations embrace the ability to not have to get it from point A to point B at light speed, because there's a point C and a point D, which is the final delivery, which can't take it at that speed. So I think that works for containerized cargo as it does for aggregates and bulk and project cargo as well. And that pace is going to have to be embraced. I think we're going to have to work through the setbacks. Get people healthy. Get more truckers in. Get the dock workers back to work, and find a way to collaborate in a vested way. Not just trying to race everything, from China to the United States, but pace it. And I think that's going to happen. But unfortunately, I don't think it's going to find its center, so to speak, until probably the end of 2022 into 2023.
Yeah. Okay, well now tell me about CakeBoxx Technologies.
Will do. So
that's what I want to know.
So CakeBoxx Technologies has been around for 10 years. We had our 10-year anniversary in June. It was created and led by a gentleman by the name of Dane Isehold, who is a former naval commander, a career naval commander, and he created these pieces of equipment that are essentially like a regular container, an ISO container, but they're two pieces. So there's a reinforced deck that has the capacity to have 360-degree access, and then the container top comes off completely. And then when you put it back down, just in the same type of twist locks that are used to manipulate the equipment with an RTG or with a Calmar or a reach stacker or a forklift, seals the container, and then you can move it just like you would any other ISO or CSC container. And we make those in 20s, 40s, 45s, and 53s. We make purpose-built flat decks, and then we pride ourselves in saying, if you can think it, we can build it, and it will be safe, efficient, and quick use. So we have containers that we've made for Boeing that are almost 50 feet long, almost 14 feet high, have a gull wing container, and they can place some of their Dreamliner parts inside of it, close the container, seal it, and then be able to move it on a Breakbulk ship or on a regular containerized ship quicker, more efficient, and most importantly, safe to load and unload and no damage. So that's what we do. We build vested relationships and collaboration with Boeing, with Lockheed Martin, with General Dynamics. We have a really good relationship with Vestas, which is the Danish wind power generation organization, is becoming one of our largest customers, and we help build.
So can you ship those blades in a
well,
container?
No. So our focus, those blades are something spectacular, right? What we focus on are really more the engine parts and the components of the generator and things like that, and the turbine. And we make 100-ton decks that are specifically made to integrate with the machinery, with interface points, so that deck, that piece of machinery can be placed on the deck, and then it's ready to be transported. And so you don't have to block and brace it and lash it on a flat rack, or use a tarpaulin or something like that. It's much more secure and protected.
Oh, that's so interesting. Now, how have you guys fared during the container shortage? Has that been a boon for you?
Well, it hasn't been a boon. We've had 2 very good years. So this year and last year are our 2 best years in the 10 years. Our order book's looking great for 2022 as well. Our manufacturing partner is CIMC, which is the largest container manufacturer in the world out of China, multiple sites. And we have a very good partnership with them. And we're not building 10,000 containers at a time. We're building 5 or 10 or 40. So we're not a huge customer, but we're unique. We add to their breadth of business. And very honestly, we all work and do the same thing. I'm sure with you doing interviews, sometimes it gets a little bit rote, right? And you like it when somebody comes in and you talk to that's different. It's got a different angle.
Yeah,
so I think
definitely.
CIMC likes working with us because they get to build equipment that's not necessarily one-offs, but is very unique. It's for high-profile customers, and they have a really good partner in Dane who really has built a good relationship with CIMC. By saying what he means and meaning what he says, and delivering on these new type of platforms and this new IP that is kind of trickling into the transportation world.
Yeah, I love that. This has been so interesting. You definitely came to me with something different.
Well, good.
So I love that.
Well, I do too. And it's I'm very excited that I finally got to talk with you. I've been participating in Breakbulk all on and off here in Houston and Orleans for many years. So it's really nice to sit down and talk with you, and I really appreciate your time. And it's great that we finally get out and spend a little time with our colleagues and our friendly competitors and the like.
Well, yeah, and I hope this has been so far a good event for you.
It got really good meeting you and having this conversation. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.